I'm also going to tell you a story about my senior year in high school. It was like 2 weeks prior to graduation, also in '07 in Merrimack, New Hampshire. Since my freshman year, I've been planning the senior prank. Wasn't anything real harmful, wasn't really a big deal, at least in my eyes. It did take quite a bit of pre-planning on my part. I told one person, told a really good friend of mine, Ryan Thomas, Ryan, you know, like, I'm not trying to get you involved, but I kind of need a ride to school. So, time goes by, pre-planning, I got a banner made. The banner said Senior Class 2007, school colors. Big banner, like probably a little wider than this room, like a real big banner. I spent my money on it, got it all done up. My plan was to go up the building, there's a small drawing of the building, up the building, and then there's a third level, and then on the back side, this is the back, but on the front side was my principal's office. The office, there was a couple windows, but I had planned to hang this banner above his windows. So my climbing background kind of helped me at this point. I climb up a 3-story building, I get on top of the roof, I start drilling these bolts in the wall to hang this banner, getting ready to set the banner over, and all of a sudden I just see cars. And I see blue lights, and I'm like, oh man. So I wrap all my stuff up, put it all back in my pack, and a little more inside, like I'm like geared up. Like I got a harness on, I got my gear in my back. Like I look like I'm ready to like climb a building, get my stuff done, and get out of there. So the one poor thing was Ryan, I called Ryan the night I was gonna do it. This is a Monday, it's a holiday, we didn't have class. It's like 2 in the morning, I'm like, Ryan, you ready? You gonna drop me off? Ryan was drinking, so obviously I was gonna have Ryan drop me off anymore. So I drove my truck, I parked it like 400 or 500 yards down the road in this little like DMV parking lot, thinking it'd be fine. So back to being on the roof. I'm on the roof, I see the officers, I pack everything up. I decided to just hang out and hope that they leave. About an hour and a half goes by, they're not leaving, just more cars are coming. And all of a sudden I can see some lights near my truck, because you can see my truck way down there. I'm like, oh man, now they know I'm here. A little more inside, the town knows me fairly well. I mean, I was voted like most upcoming for senior class. I got all these awards for woodworking and automotive. Like, the school kind of knew who I was. I was getting awarded all these climbing things. Like, they had an idea. The police station has my personal cell phone. The reason for this, my cows used to get out in town, so they'd like call me out and be like, Kyle, come get your cows. So it's like 3 in the morning, right? And I'm just like, pick up my phone and it says Merrimack Police Department. I'm like, oh man. Well, I picked it up. And I'm like, hey, how you doing? You know, trying to be all mellow. Where are you? I just tell them about a friend's, you know, graduation party, not around. Why is your truck here? Well, you know, I had a pole vaulting meet the day before, truck broke down. You want me to come get it? It's not running, but I'll come get it. They said, yes, come now. I said, okay, well, give me 2 hours. So I'm using my 2 hours now. I'm still hanging out on the roof. Nobody's on the roof yet. And now I'm counting 15 cars and dogs and state troopers. I mean, this is like way blown up now. There's so much going on. I'm like, oh man, what am I gonna do? So I get a rope all set up, and I'm about to like, rappelling's like when you come off the side of the building, like on a rope. I'm getting ready to rappel off the side of the building, and I'm like dropping down below the lip, and so the wall's already above me. And I look down, and all of a sudden, like either side of the building, cops are right below me. All right, this is a little weird. So I get back up on the roof, and I'm like hanging out, obviously butterflies, and I'm like, what do I do? So I get my backpack on, and there's this big man-sized tube. Where's that tube go? I put my pack in it, I clip it to me because I got harness on, so it's like hanging in there, and I'm like stuck in this tube for like an hour and a half. So now it's like 3:30, 3:45 in the morning, and I'm still on this rooftop, and there's still way too many officers involved. I live in a small town. There's like maybe 18,000 people, you know, medium-sized town, I guess. So now it's really late. Man, this is just silly. This is not supposed to be a big deal. It's just a banner. I spent $600 on this banner out of my pocket.
Whoa.
Yeah, like money. So, long story getting shorter, all of a sudden I hear this big door slam. They're finally on the rooftop. They're walking all around me. I can see them. I'm in this tube, and they're just walking right by me. And I'm like right here. I can just be like, hey, how you doing? But they didn't see me tucked in this tube. They did their whole scope thing, the whole roof. I got out of the tube and I'm like, this is just silly. I'm just gonna go say hi. It's not worth it anymore. It's been like 3 hours since they've been looking for me. So I said, hello, my name is Kyle. It's okay. You know, I was trying to stay mellow, trying to keep them mellow. Immediately they approached me. I just stripped all my gear off, gave them a quick short and sweet before they cuffed me on what I was doing. Luckily, the arresting officer, his son was in my graduating year. So Officer Scott, good man he is, didn't cuff me right away. He just grabbed me, made it look like I was cuffed, and allowed me to walk him around the rooftop telling him what I was doing, showing him what I was doing. And showed him how I got up there and all this. Obviously, they took me down, right? So we go down, I come out, and the sergeant of this department was there, and he clearly wasn't happy. I mean, most of the people on the roof were kind of joking about it, like, oh wow, this is almost entertaining. But now it started raining. It's like 4 in the morning now. Nobody wants to be out there. So the sergeant really wasn't happy. Yep, arrest him, bring him in. My truck got towed. I went to the police station. I got arrested, obviously. After Officer Scott filed my paperwork, clearly I wasn't there to hurt anything, right? So he was like, here's a back door. Come back in a couple days, get your gear. Just walk home. So he let me go. So I got a ride. I called a friend, got a ride. Like 6-7 weeks later, I get a notice, court date. This is Josh. Yeah. Okay. I get a court date. So okay, I'm getting charged with criminal trespassing on school grounds. So I go in, really kind of pled my case as best I could, and they really didn't want to lighten it up. They wanted to charge me for it. It's not quite a felony, but it's not a misdemeanor, whatever that in between is. So it's going to be kind of a big deal. So I asked them to go back to the court again, and I went 3 times. I ended up paying $2,800 in court fees. I ended up losing my license. I ended up giving 80 hours of community service and $1,000 in materials I donated to the high school. I did a lot of work for the high school to say, hey, it's not a big deal. So, sore story, life experience. In the end of it, my principal and I are really good friends. He let me hang that banner.
Nice.
He asked me to hang it for graduation. So the banner got used. But I got arrested for doing a silly secret prank.
Nice. Come on in, Josh. That's hilarious. It's too bad they were so high. I mean, I guess just because, like, I think whenever a public entity has to respond in that manner, like, it costs money to, like, get people out there. They just have to do something. But still, that's unfortunate.
It cost a lot of money.
Jen?
Yep. Gotcha. Thanks. Sorry I'm late. My campus van didn't show up on time.
Yeah, no, don't worry about it.
Got it down here.
You can?
Awesome. All right. Okay, so when I was really little, my mom would take my brother and I to this daycare near where she works. And like, I don't really remember that much about it because I was like 5 or something. But I mean, I've got, the generic memories like drawing and learning 1, 2, buckle my shoe and playing house and stuff like that. But most of my memories though actually revolve around like the theme of getting in trouble, which is weird because I didn't ever really get in trouble. But my brother was sort of a bit of a troublemaker. He didn't like taking naps, and he was always grouchy, and the teachers kind of hated him. So whenever my mom would come to pick us up, she'd get pulled aside, and the teachers would be like, oh, this is all the terrible things your son did today. I don't remember it being that big of a deal. It's not like she came down on him like the angry fist of God, but he probably got scolded or something. It wasn't that big of a deal. So while my brother was the troublemaker, I wound up kind of being, the good one. And I hate to toot my own horn or whatever, but I was also kind of the cute one. Like, random people would stop my mother and I, like, on the street and be like, oh, your daughter, she's so cute. look at her red curly hair. She looks just like Orphan Annie. And I like legitimately have like this deep-seated hatred for Orphan Annie now, because every single person was like, oh, it was really annoying. But you know, that's not the point. So all adults thought I was, you know, this cute little girl, and I basically backed them up by not being an annoying little brat. I was quiet and a little shy, you know, but I could play with friends and stuff, and you know, I ate my food, I took my naps, and I did whatever I was told, and we didn't have any problems, except for this one kid. He was one of those kids. He was like, my brother was, you know, a bit of a troublemaker. He was like a huge troublemaker. He was, you can call him a problem child or, you know, whatever you want. But this kid was like the bane of my daycare existence. Like, I don't remember his face. I don't remember what he looks like. I don't remember his name. But I still have like this hatred towards this like little kid. And he was obnoxious, he was loud, and he threw like crazy violent temper tantrums, and he ruined everybody's fun, and I couldn't stand him. So I did my best to, you know, ignore him and go on my way and do my stuff. And it worked out fine until one day when we were all told to sit on the carpeted area for like a little meeting time. So the teachers could be like, oh, let's sing a song or learn how to tie our shoes. And I wound up being seated next to him. And which was, you know, it turned out to be all right, because I had discovered that you could bite like your arm and you could see the imprints of your teeth on your arm. And I thought that was like the coolest thing ever. I was like, oh, look. And so I kept myself occupied. Yeah, so I don't really know where things went wrong. I wish I could be like, you know, he provoked me and he said something mean, or like, you know, he hit me or something like that. But honestly, he didn't. And he was probably, I don't know, he was probably just being annoying somehow by sitting. I don't really know. But something in my like head just, clicked, and events set into motion. So I was, you know, sitting there quietly, and I waited for all the bite marks on my arm to go away. Then I took this deep breath, and I bit down on my arm really hard, like really hard. I mean, not like breaking skin hard, but when I let go, I had this big, bright red, angry bite mark on my arm, like with huge like indents, and I start fake crying. Like I couldn't summon tears, so I'm like sniffling into my hands. I'm like, ah! And all the teachers, you know, they're like, oh my God, what's going on? And they come rushing over me. They're like, Jennifer, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I'm sitting there and I'm trying really hard not to look at them because I'm a terrible liar. And I'm like, and all I do is I point at him and I go, he bit me. And I swear to God, that kid was like, I'm not going down for this. And he was like, no, she didn't. She bit herself. I didn't do it. And like, the teachers are like, Jennifer, did he really bite you? And I'm like, yes. And I swear to God, he was thrashing, he was kicking. The teachers they took him and they dragged him out of the room and into timeout. And and I was overcome with the most bizarre sense of triumph. Like, you gotta understand, I had never really done anything that bad before. There's like, it was just this weirdest sense of, like I had gotten my revenge and I put him in his place, and and I look back at it now and I could have gotten him in like serious trouble, because you're like, throwing a temper tantrum is one thing, but biting kids is like a completely different thing. And I probably like created a psychopath, and I really hope I don't ever meet him again. But like even now, like when I retell this story, every time I say it, I'm just like, I bit myself, and he got in trouble, and it's like still this weird sense of like, ha, you're in trouble. I was like the most bizarre childish thing, but yeah. So I guess I kind of learned that if he hadn't been, and I guess I kind of, you know, make it all right in my head, because if he wasn't such a terrible person, they wouldn't have believed me over him. And,
That's a good point.
you know, so, that, yeah, it's my psychotic episode in daycare.